from Tokyo. Your commentary team is MUTV Steve Bauer, and he's joined by journalist Neil Custis of The Sun. So the whole first half coming up.
And welcome to the Olympic Stadium here in Tokyo. It's a 60,000 sellout, and there's some noise, let me tell you as well, for this Super Cup final between Manchester United and Palmeiras. It's the Brazilians who get us underway. We've had quite a build-up both on and off the field all week to this game, and that was tipped off with a dramatic firework display just 5 or 10 minutes or so before kick-off. Really has set the scene in this magnificent arena, and a wonderful playing surface as well, which both sides trained on last night for hopefully what will be an entertaining 90 minutes of football, and it could also go to an extra 30 if scores are level, and then penalties. The European sides have won the last 4, Manchester United of course bidding to become the first ever English side to win the Super Cup, and that is another piece of history that Alex Ferguson and his side can write tonight. All eyes building up to this game, and evidently inside the first few minutes as well for our Japanese counterparts. As ever, David Beckham. He was mobbed when we arrived, almost fell over because of the lack of security at the airport, and he has been mobbed wherever he's been ever since. Nicky Butt fit to play. He was fouled there, and Helmut Krug, incidentally, who's our referee tonight, straight away gives a free kick. Neil Custis from The Sun is joining us tonight. Delighted to say he's on MUTV. And a lot of talk, Neil, about their approach as we look at it again. Up to kick-off, referee was taking no messing there.
Absolutely, and I think we need the referee to be strong tonight, Steve, because they are renowned for a very physical, a very hard approach. They're nicknamed the Pigs back in Brazil, and I don't think that's just from a name or anything historic. It's much to do with their play, I think. They're very hard, very physical, and Manchester United are going to have to stand up to it.
This is Beckham. It wasn't that far away. They must have watched videos of maybe Beckham's free kicks. He was practicing in training, building up to them over here in Japan, and this one wasn't quite low enough, but it wasn't that far away.
It was another good effort. It's only about a foot high over the bar. I mean, when those are on target, they are absolutely impossible to stop. The amount they swing in the air, and with the power and pace on them, luckily from the Brazilians' point of view, that was slightly too high.
Right start from United. The last thing they will want is any extra time tonight. They'll want this settled within 90 minutes. They'll want this settled as well, as far as Alex Ferguson and Steve McClaren are concerned, without any further injuries. Well, that's gone against Gary Neville, strangely enough. That's confirmation of our official tonight, very experienced referee from Germany, Helmut Krug, who met United in the quarter-finals of the European Cup last season against Inter Milan. That was a favourable result that night. Let's hope it's the same this evening. Ryan Giggs back helping out there against the right-back, Arsa, who's Paraguayan. Incidentally, 20 of the 22 players on the pitch tonight, all full internationals. That is the pedigree of talent we're watching. And he is from Paraguay, Arsa. He's got some more work to do now. So too is Hockey Junior, known as Hockey. He came across and won the throw-in. Ryan Giggs isn't too impressed about it. 26 yesterday. Ryan Giggs celebrating his birthday over here in Tokyo. He'll be looking to celebrate it with another medal to add to that ever-expanding cabinet. And you look at the honours that the Welshman has won in his career for 26. Most would settle for that, or half of that, throughout their career. But there's another medal on offer tonight. It's the 20th successive year that this particular game, it's now been a one-off game, has been held here in Tokyo. Love the football over here in Japan, and in particular, they love the treble win. Unbelievable response since our arrival on Friday. Now packed inside this wonderful stadium, which for anyone who has ever been to Munich, the Olympic Stadium in Munich, very reminiscent of that, as we watch Gary Neville being fouled. The Brazilian samba drums are beating. Oh, we've had an awful lot of Helmut Krug's whistle early on. Some of them, arguably, could have let play on.
Not quite sure what that one was for, Steve, but he's obviously coming down hard on absolutely anything here tonight. Which, as I said at the start, could be good news for Manchester United, given the approach that we were expecting from Palmeiras.
Talking to Alex Ferguson yesterday about all the talk, and their coach, of course, who's Luis Philippe Scolliart, who's known as Big Phil for his remarkable tactics when it comes to aggression. Alex Ferguson says, we're not worried about that. We're very confident in our referee. As I mentioned, they had him last season against Inter Milan. They know how experienced he is and how they will clamp down. Certainly seen evidence of that in the opening 4 minutes. Now this is Ole Solskjaer returning to the starting lineup. Giggs, it's a great run from Keane, and he's annoyed because that first touch, which wasn't an easy one, was just a touch too far. He applauds the pass. That was a very incisive break from Manchester United.
It was just slightly too strong for Roy Keane there. It was a very swift move, and it got into his path, and he just couldn't bring it under control.
Beckham's corner, looks for Stam. Cleared in the end by Faustino Asprilla, of all people, who was back there. A name, of course, fans back home will know. And here he is again, 2 years at Newcastle. Played 4 times against United in that time. Running at the United defence is what he'll be looking to do tonight. And in the end, that's good defending from the Reds. To say, this pitch really is a true bounce, and already you can tell it's suiting United's style of play. Just as you say that, as always, they give it away, and the flag has stayed down against Nunes. Kostic had to be alert there. Nunes and Silvestre was the pairing.
I think Silvestre did well there, because he was, although he was played on side, Silvestre was very quickly to come back, and had Boston shots been out, not come out as quickly, I think he would have recovered anyway.
Well, that's another strong challenge going in from Hockey Junior, right from behind, and arguably that is a yellow card offence. Got his gloves on tonight. I tell you what, it's not that cold in Tokyo, but he warmed Solskjaer up there.
He's possibly wearing them so he doesn't leave any fingerprints anyway. That was a terrible challenge there, and that deserved a yellow card. And if he's not going to give a yellow card for that, I'm not sure what he's going to give it for.
Oh, I hope we're not talking about the referee too much tonight. This time it's Giggs' left foot. That one was never going to trouble the goalkeeper. 26-year-old Marcos, who's just come back into the Palmeiras side. Spent the most of last season as a reserve. 2 Brazilian caps to his name. That is the thing when I say that there are 8 Brazilian internationals in the Palmeiras side. Doesn't seem you have to do an awful lot in Brazil just to earn a couple of caps. Become an international, it's a hard thing adding to them. Several of these players aren't in double figures when it comes to caps for the national side. That was Alex, who's very much the star man there, wearing 10, 22-year-old. He already has 13 caps and 6 goals. Very much the emerging wonder boy of Brazilian football.
Very much so. Alex is touted as the new Brazilian number 10, and there's a lot of hopes for him in the future. I know in the semi-final of the Libertadores Cup, which eventually got Palmeiras here, he scored 3 goals and was hailed as something of a hero.
Scholes, bit of a surprise selection tonight, Paul Scholes, and he's got a bit of a knock there as well out of your picture. He just seems to be getting up. To say the one thing Manchester United do not want tonight, just as the growing list of injuries is decreasing, is to pick up any knocks that's going to affect their Premiership and Champions League campaign. Remember, it's a busy week next week with Everton on Saturday, and then Valencia, that crucial game in the Champions League on Wednesday. The last thing they need is any further hindrance in the injury department.
I think one thing that is evident, though, Steve, in the first 8 minutes is that both teams are very much up for this. We've seen a lot of competitions like the European Super Cup pre-season friendlies and that, which they just go through the motions, but this is very much a game that both sides want to win.
Scholes, who's playing in central midfield as well. It's a 5-man midfield. Good pass one there. That was travelling, that shot, so it was blocked by Hockey Junior. Solskjaer is very much a lone figure up front, which is an interesting selection from Alex Ferguson, who hinted very strongly that it would be Teddy Sheringham and the Norwegian, and Sheringham is amongst the substitutes tonight. Solskjaer is going to be asked to do an awful lot of running up there on his own. Dwight Yorke, remember, also on the bench. Andy Cole left behind with a back injury. Rare touch from Mark Bosnich in these opening 9 minutes. Be hoping that continues throughout the game. And really, as we approach the 10-minute mark, they don't know an awful lot about each other, Palmeiras and Manchester United. It's almost a bit of cat and mouse fanning each other out.
Yes, it does seem that way. They both look very strong at the back. Both look, I mean, as I suggest, almost cagey. But talking about Scholes, you know, he's one player that doesn't seem to get the spotlight as much as he should at Manchester United. A very understated sort of guy, you know, whether if he had dyed blonde hair or sunglasses, maybe we'd talk more about him. But he is a great player and a very dangerous player. And maybe Alex Ferguson's tried to second guess what Palmeiras were planning on doing. His runs from deep are so important, as we see from England and from Manchester United, and he's such a difficult player to pick up.
I love that role tonight, with a little bit less defending for him to do as well, as opposed to the orthodox central midfield role. A quiet figure off the pitch, as we know. Brazilian fans getting a little restless as Gary Neville looked for the run, which finally came from Butt, and he wins the throw-in. It's amusing little tale in Florence when he came out of the dressing room, Paul Scholes, having of course lost 2-0 to Fiorentina. An Italian journalist, a female, running up to him. Mr. Scholes, can I have an interview? Paul Scholes just looked at me and said, she doesn't know me very well, does she? Needless to say, he didn't oblige, but he's obliged here by winning the ball back, and he's won it back well. Dennis Irwin with Asprilla for company, all the way back to Silvestre. His 9th game in his Manchester United career tonight. Couldn't find Giggs with that one. Asprilla has made the run, trying to get goal side. What can the Colombian do here? Well, it was aimed towards Zinho at the back post, but Stam dealt with it comfortably.
It was a well-timed run from Asprilla to get that ball, and he pulled it back well as well. The Palmeiras coach will be spitting feathers that there wasn't the support there, because everyone seemed to just stand and watch from the Palmeiras midfield rather than get there.
Goalless after 11 minutes here in the Olympic Stadium in Tokyo for the unofficial World Super Cup. A competition that no English side have ever won. The last English side to compete in this competition was way back in '84 when Liverpool lost 1-0 to Independiente of Argentina. They lost in '81 to Flamengo as well. That was aimed towards Solskjaer from Giggs, back in from Butt. And one thing that Brazilians haven't had necessarily over the years, as the United manager watches on, are consistent goalkeepers, and Marcos there didn't look too confident coming off his line.
No, it was another decent cross though from Giggs. He's looking dangerous tonight with those balls in. We haven't seen the best of him, I don't think, this season, but certainly tonight he's looked to get involved and get those balls in early. It's something that the Brazilians aren't used to, and a lot of South American clubs aren't used to.
Well, that was Faustino Asprilla, who's 30 years of age now, using all his experience to win the free kick there against Silvestre. Junior Baiano, very experienced campaigner. This is Hockey Junior. The United player behind the ball, as neither side would want to give an early goal away. That was well covered by Jaap Stou as well. Sampaio. Nunes with the touch, wanted it back and almost got it back. Brazilian fans get excited behind the goal away to our right-hand side. Scholes appealed for handball. United have to some more defending. Zinho's left foot, the man who's very experienced, the Brazilian captain. Now Beckham, he's only got Solskjaer to aim for at the moment. Giggs in support, that's where it's gone towards. Sampaio in the end gives Marcos the chance to clear. Side flag was up against Asprilla on the far side. David Beckham in the spotlight wherever he goes. He really has been over here. Real adulation, almost excessive stardom, really. This is the man we were talking about, Big Phil, as they call him. 51 years of age, a central defender as a player. He's been all around South America, coached in Kuwait as well. He's actually coached in a Super Cup final before as well, in 1995, when he lost on penalties 5-4 to Ajax, the Dutch champions. So this is his second experience of such an event. Keane. Gary Neville, his 5th start in any competition this season. Not a lot. Really troubled by injury, just delighted to be back. The throw-in goes United's way. That wasn't a bad idea from Ryan Giggs. He had Arce, the Paraguayan, behind him. He's tried to flick it on into the path of Solskjaer. The game is beginning to quicken up. Faustino Asprilla again against Mikel Silvestre. We know how dangerous Asprilla can be. Didn't catch that shot, which Stam blocked. It was a good job he didn't as well.
Asprilla there turned Silvestre this way and that before getting the shot in, but Jaap Stam is reading everything at the moment. He's looking so cool and calm at the back there. They're making the runs, putting the balls in, but Jaap is always there.
Well, the flag had stayed down there. That was Paulo Nunes, who at 28 years of age is another favourite of the managers. He played for him for Gremio in that Super Cup final I was telling you about against Ajax. And that wasn't too far away. As I say, the flag had stayed down. Mark Barsic would have been delighted to see that in his hands.
I understand that Nunes started in football when he went to see a friend of his in Rio, who suggested he might like a kickabout with some of his mates from Flamengo. He did so, and the rest is history. He went on from there. Shame he didn't have a mate over in Manchester or somewhere like that.
Hasn't quite got the same ring to it as Rio, has it?
No.
He's also played in the Portuguese league with Benfica for a year. It's much travel. As I say, very experienced as well. There's a big reputation, though, for diving and whinging, does Paulo Nunes. Hopefully we won't see too much of that this evening, and Helmut Krug, our German official, will cut it out. It's comfortable for Hockey Junior. Owen claims he won the ball. Mr. Krug disagreed. Junior, the 26-year-old, who has been at Palmeiras for all of his career, but only really got the chance to progress when Roberto Carlos left for Real Madrid. And he's now a firm fixture in the South American champion side, and very much the understudy to Roberto Carlos for Brazil as well. He was telling the world's media yesterday after training how difficult a job looking after David Beckham would be. He hasn't really got over the halfway line so far in the opening 17 minutes. Beckham's touch there not quite coming off. Brazilians quite happy just to keep a feel of the ball without really going too direct at the moment against Manchester United.
I think both sides are waiting. For the other almost to make a mistake, as you suggested earlier, Steve. It is a bit of a game of chess at the moment, and nobody wants to really go hell for leather and to commit themselves, and rightly so. We know it's not something Manchester United do. They very much feel their way into games, and come about the 25th minute, half an hour, they tend to step it up and catch their opponents off guard.
That was Keane on Alex, the 22-year-old. It's a second Brazilian club now. The faintest of touches, if at all, there, to sympathise with the United skipper's frustration, but it does give Palmeiras a free kick in a dangerous position. Junior Baiano, Arce the Paraguayan, Zinho all behind it. It's going to be Baiano, outside of his right foot. Mark Bosnet's complaining that the wall didn't stand its ground, but the 29-year-old in the end killed it just a touch too wide.
We talk about what David Beckham can do with free kicks, and he is one man in the Manchester United team who is deadly with them. Likewise Dennis Irwin, who we don't see taking them as much now, but what we have to remember about the Brazilians is that they can all take these free kicks, and they can bend them this way and that, make them dip, what have you. Even from 30 yards out, they can be as good as penalties for some of these guys.
It's an area that United will surely have been briefed on. Paulo Nunes. Asprilla was the target. Bosnich again, just glad to get that in his hands. Almost 20 minutes gone then, and it really has been a cagey, cat and mouse type opening to this game, which we shouldn't be too surprised at. As I say, both sides have relied on videos to find out information about each other. It's quite a flight just to go and have a quick scout on them. I don't think really until the second half this game is going to open up. Owen was strong in the challenge, and it was a fair one. Arce the Paraguayan. There's a test for Bosnich. That kick was a good one. Solskjaer had 3 men around him on that occasion. And his own up there. Now Alex, still going, goes down, and quite rightly so, is told to get up by Helmut Krug. Brazilian fans around us are not too impressed, but really that was evidence of Brazilians their very best when it comes to diving. Let's have another look at this. No way.
I think with the jet lag I fell into bed like that the other night, but there was certainly no one near me then either. Well, 10 out of 10 for trying, but we don't want to see that sort of thing tonight. As I say, Palmeiras have a reputation for aggression and over-aggression. They also have a reputation for being divers and whingers, to quote one Brazilian writer yesterday. That was evidence of the latter, I think. We have seen a little bit more of the ball. This is Galanio. Nunes was the target. He's quick, but he's not that quick. I was very taken yesterday, Steve, by just how much Alex Ferguson wanted to win this. He's very much aware of the history of this tournament. There's been a lot of talk about the tournament in Brazil in the new year. That, as he said, no one knows how good or bad it'll be, but this one has a lot of history to it. He's also very much aware of Manchester United's history and how much they tried to win this back in 1968.
And that man was playing. He's been over here for the full week, George Best, and his wife to his left. Done a little bit of coaching over here as well, a little bit of media work, and there are actually chains of George Best shops showing pure Manchester United merchandise, and that really is just one tiny little bit of evidence of how huge the treble winners are out here in the capital city of Japan. Chains of George Best shops. He's been taken around those. He's done a couple of dinners as well. Let's round it off with tonight's game. Asprilla. Real chance now, and Bosnich couldn't get out. Superb save from Mark Bosnich. Narrowed the angle. For one moment it looked as though the ball had gone over him. First real chance of the game, and the Manchester United goalkeeper was up to it. Still not clear though. And after all that, it will be a corner. But that was excellent work. Nunes applauds the Palmeiras build-up. But Alex Ferguson will applaud this now.
It's a good ball from Asprilla. Just slips it through there. The chance is on, but Bosnich, it's almost reminiscent of Schmeichel with that sort of star jump when he makes himself as big as possible, and it was a superb save from Mark Bosnich.
First chance to Palmeiras then, and Mark Bosnich equal to it. Still have the corner to defend, which they do. Back in again from Zinho, header from Asprilla. And again, the Manchester United goalkeeper, in fact it was Sampaio, Junior Baianio with the header in the end, but Bosnich was equal to it.
Yes, Mark Bosnich right behind that. Could have been difficult for him just bouncing in front of him, but he had it covered.
Well, that's really has woken up the Palmeiras fans away to our right-hand side. The drums are still beating. It's quite a mild night in Tokyo. It's around 55 degrees. Some excellent defending as well from Mikel Silvestre. And as I say, there's hardly a spare seat in this wonderful arena, which would have erupted had that shot gone in. Gary Neville, only as far as Zinho, the Palmeiras captain. Now Paulo Nunes. Brazilians just beginning to get their passing going. Sampaio out to Arcea, the right back. Asprilla comes short for him. Still with the Paraguayan, who, like Nunes, played for Gremio in the '95 Super Cup final. That was Zinho, the captain, and that will be a goal kick. Zinho, another one who's played a lot of football, 32 years of age now, is in his second spell with Palmeiras, and he knows all about Japan because he played for Yokohama Flugas for 3 seasons with Cesar Sampaio. But Big Phil, as they call him over there in Brazil, will be ruining that chance from Alex, but really he couldn't blame the Brazilian. Full credit has to go to the United goalkeeper Mark Bosnich. Solskjaer fouling Junior. Palmeiras, who really have made such a huge thing of this game. They arrived 8 days before it. It's their first ever time in this Super Cup final. And in Brazil, it really is a huge event to qualify. They've never done it before. So many of their rivals had and gone on to win it, beaten the European champions. In fact, they've never got past the quarter-final stage until this year, and they went on to win it. And ever since that qualification day, when they were South American champions, this has been a big, big date. In stark contrast to United, really, where it just appeared on the fixture list. For Alex Ferguson, it was another game and a dreadful journey. Interesting in the interview with me yesterday that he didn't think that the players will have acclimatised for a good 7 days. They hadn't slept that well. And I do sympathise with them for that, and I have to say, Neil and I are glad we're not having to run about tonight, because it does take an awful lot out of them.
Very much so. For the past 2 or 3 days, I've not known what day it is here, back in England, what time it is back in England, or anything.
Solskjaer is quite outnumbered up there at the moment. Needs to get support up to him as quickly as possible. It's the Brazilians in the last few minutes who've, as I say, got their passing movements going. This is Alex again. He looks a great player. Now Junior, 4 to aim for. He drilled it. And Gary Neville managed to get in the way. He's got a hell of a left foot on him when he unleashes it, Junior. On that occasion, Gary Neville was the man to prevent it going goalwards.
Yes, as we know, we've got a junior playing here, a junior by Arno, a man whose real name is actually Rocco Junior, and as someone once said, you win nothing with juniors.
Been rehearsing that one all day. Zinio with the cross. And they're pretty pinpoint as well. He'll get a second bite at the cherry. Zinio, who's on the bench for Brazil when they won the World Cup in 1994. 2 Brazilian titles to his name. One with Flamengo in 91 and Palmeiras in 94. It's his corner again. And in the end, that shot coming in from Galano. The connection wasn't the best, and fortunately for Manchester United, and not for him, it went over the bar.
I was wondering actually if he mishit that corner, because he seemed to dive into the ground very quickly and had caught the Manchester United defence flat-footed. They were just all stopped and stared for a minute, and that was a chance. He should have had that on target.
Remains 0-0 here in the Olympic Stadium in Tokyo in the Super Cup final. Well, Alex in midfield really has got a free role to get up and support Nunes and Asprilla whenever possible. Referee waves, play on. United just finding it difficult to get numbers forward. Giggs was caught very, very late there. And the referee's got to set a precedence and show a card sooner rather than later. And I think Alex is going to be the first recipient of it. He can have very few complaints about that. We've seen his talent, we've seen his dive, and now we've seen his nasty side.
Another bad foul on Oli Solskjaer. He's had some battered and bruising challenges on him tonight. You can see him there still limping.
David Beckham is going to take the free kick. Keane, Scholes and Butt all getting forward to support Solskjaer. Fool them all and go wide to Irwin. Gary Neville. Direct ball towards Solskjaer, but 5 green shirts around Solskjaer as Marcos, the Palmeiras goalkeeper, took that. And it's a tactical change of system tonight from Alex Ferguson to try and outwit his opposite number, but at the moment when that ball goes up, Neil, he's very, very isolated, the Norwegian.
Yeah, he is very much so. That wasn't one of David Beckham's best in his repertoire. I'd sort of hang in the air, and that was perfect for the goalkeeper to come out and catch. What we need him is David Beckham to get a bit further down the line and whip one of those balls in with speed and power, which perhaps Scholes or maybe Solskjaer can get on the end of.
Solskjaer takes another battering off the ball to add insult to injury. The throw-in went Palmeiras' way. Forward from Junior, the offside flag up though on the far side against Nunes. Well, that was disappointing to say the least from Mikel Silvestre. Junior Baiano has a reputation as a hard man. Spent 2 years in the Bundesliga with Werder Bremen and was actually dropped for an assaulting opponent in the German league. Soon returned home to rejoin Palmeiras. Well, Nicky Butt holds his hands up. The free kick still goes against him. Zinho and Junior behind it. Nunes, Galano, Spria all making their way into the penalty area. Hockey Junior has gone up from the back as well. It's towards the defender. They've got a header on it. It's virtually straight at Mark Bosnich. But it's Bosnich who's seen a little more of the ball than his opposite number.
He's never going to have any trouble at all with that header. But the danger was it was a free header, and had it gone either side of him and he couldn't have caught it, then there was players ready there to follow up. He was just allowed a bit too much space on the edge of the area there.
Marcos, the Palmeiras goalkeeper, miskicks the clearance. Giggs' faintest touch of a hand or an arm. Junior Baiano with earring as well. Quite sure whether that was allowed these days, but he's out there with it anyway. And we still await our first goal. But one real chance has fallen to Palmeiras after 22 minutes when Alex, the 22-year-old, very talented midfielder, got forward on one of those runs. Mark Bosnich spread himself and his outstretched left hand managed to get a vital touch on the ball, prevent the midfielder from finding the back of the net. Apart from that, it's been cagey stuff. Sampaio looking for Nunes, comes back to Zinho. Galanio in the centre circle. To the Paraguayan, Arsa. The final ball on that occasion from the South American champions was not going to trouble Manchester United.
I noticed while Palmeiras are having a lot of the ball and passing it across the midfield, they're not putting Manchester United really in any danger. Manchester United are forcing them wide, forcing them into areas where they're not going to produce any sort of danger.
Dwight York, rarely a substitute, but he is tonight. Hasn't scored for 9 games. Just getting a little bit of a rest, and to say, amongst the replacements this evening, what a guy to call on if it's not going your way.
Absolutely, and although Dwight hasn't scored, I think it's only 1 in 10. He has still been looking as sharp, and his mixture with Andy Cole and his work with him has looked just as good. I mean, I remember him saying to me recently, he said, as long as one of us is scoring and we're still winning, then I don't mind, I'll not look at that record.
This is Junior. Now Zinho, very much one-footed on his left. Lanio, the only player in the Palmeiras side who's not a full international. Both sides having 10 full internationals. Silvestre is the other player on the pitch who hasn't played for his particular country at a full international level. He has played, of course, for the under-21s, which is one of the areas where he came to Alex Ferguson's notice, which persuaded him to pay £4 million to Inter Milan for his services. Junior Aspria is offside. Nunes was probably offside as well on the far side. Can have few complaints about that, the Brazilians. Strange old career for Faustino Aspria. In fact, it probably was Nunes on the far side as well. He's 30 now, as I say, the former Newcastle striker, who Kevin Keegan paid £7 million for. He's won 2 UEFA Cups, a Cup Winners' Cup, an Italian Cup in 2 spells with Parma. He was going nowhere in his second spell. And he was brought rather strangely to Palmeiras, but they tell me that he was more a directors and boardroom signing rather than a manager one, and that's one of the reasons why he hasn't been playing an awful lot.
But he, very recently in a 6-0 win over Botafogo, he scored twice, and suddenly both the Palmeiras fans and the manager saw what Asprilla could do for them, and that game alone has won him his place today.
Giggs, oh, he's missed it, and Roy Keane, after 34 minutes, scores the first goal. We mentioned Marcos and the balls in the air. The Brazilian goalkeeper made a right mess of it. It was a quality ball in from Giggs, and Roy Keane does not miss those. And Alex Ferguson's side, after having less possession, have broken the deadlock in the Olympic Stadium. Manchester United 1, Palmeiras 0.
I mean, again, Giggs, this is something we haven't seen enough from him this season. He gets round his man, crosses it. It was an awkward cross to deal with, but Keane on the far post catches it on the full and puts it away. That wasn't as easy to put away as it might look. Excellent, catches it on the full at the far post. Excellent moment for Roy Keane. And what a moment it'll be for all Manchester United fans. Not only if this score stays the same, but Roy Keane there again. Comes back next week and signs that contract.
Well, he's delighted with that one, but what a goalkeeping error, you have to say. It wasn't an easy cross, but didn't even get any touch on it. And after soaking up the pressure, the European champions lead the South American champions by a goal to 0 in Tokyo. And that will just be the sort of thing that Alex Ferguson would have wanted. They'd weathered a mini storm, as we say, for all their possession. Palmeiras hadn't really created that many chances. And then you don't have to see much of these Brazilian goalkeepers to know when that ball goes in the air, and you have players like Giggs and Beckham in your side, must be the message. Get them tested. And United punish them.
It's been interesting that Palmeiras have put a lot of concentration on stopping David Beckham, with both Junior and Hockey backing up Junior, coming over to this left-hand side to stop him and push him back. But that man Giggs, he is just as determined, just as lethal with those crosses from the wing as we saw there. As I said before, we haven't seen it often enough from him this season, but there he just showed exactly what he can do.
And Arcea, the Paraguayan fullback, is renowned for going forward, but another area of his game that they told me was a little bit suspect was the defending. And loves to get forward at every opportunity, but Giggs has not allowed him to do so, and he showed his defensive frailties. Here's the cross again, wonderfully pinpointed. Keane watched it all away, and that is just what Manchester United fans and Alex Ferguson would have wanted to see.
As I say again, it was an excellent finish because Keane had to jump high to reach that ball and put it away.
Giggs again. This time the Brazilians managed to get a hand on it, and as far as Nicky Butt. Oh, that wasn't that far away from Nicky Butt. He doesn't score many, but when he does, they're usually fairly spectacular. And he struck this one with real venom, just sat up for him, and that was an inch or so away of troubling Marcos again.
Not only did he strike it well, but he did superbly well to make the chance for him by bringing a high ball down, got it under control, and it was just the right-hand spin on it that took it away from the goal.
United looking very composed out there. Not that they didn't when the Brazilians had the majority of possession. As I say, Bosnich only had to make the one save. That goal really has settled everyone down. It's also stopped the samba drums beating as well. It's a little more silent now in the National Stadium here in Tokyo, the venue for 20 consecutive Super Cup finals. Winners over the last 4 years. Last year was Real Madrid. Before them, Borussia Dortmund, then Juventus and Ajax. So United looking to make it 5 out of 5 as far as European clubs are concerned. And as far as English clubs are concerned, write yet more history. The first English side to win the World Super Cup.
So as we said before, it's a competition very much with a great history, right back to when Pelé won it with Santos 2 seasons running. It's had some great names down on this Roll of Honour, and some great players have played in this competition.
There's a few fairly good ones out there at the moment as well. As I say, the fact that there's only 2 in the 22 who haven't played for their respective country at full level really does give you an idea of the quality of football and footballers that we're watching at the moment. Zeno. Asprilla. Trying to shake his marker off, and the referee again wasn't fooled, which is very good to see. Keane, the goal scorer. It's a butt. Good football from United. Scholes getting forward, just a touch too far. Oof. Marcos, in typical Brazilian fashion, almost let that slip over his penalty area. Junior. Zeno haven't had much luck down the left-hand side, the Brazilians. Two very attacking players in Junior and Zeno, the captain. But, Junior has not got forward as much as he might have expected because he's very, very worried about the threat of David Beckham. 5 minutes to the break in the Olympic Stadium in Tokyo. Manchester United leading Palmeiras in the World Super Cup final by 1-0, scored by the skipper Roy Keane. And he said just before we flew out, didn't we, that he might have some positive news when he returns from Tokyo. Might just be his goal that helps his club return with the World Super Cup as well. Junior. Galliano. Arcea's cross, which is what he's renowned for. Comfortably dealt with. Brazilians suddenly aren't singing anymore, as they say, as Junior's cross comes in. There's two unmarked at the back post, and that's a magnificent clearance. Mikel Silvestre does the high fives with Mark Bosnich. It was Alex again, the danger man. He just peeled away at the back post and is headed back across goal and virtually off the line from the French under-21 international.
That was superb cover work by Silvestre. We haven't seen a lot of this man since he came to Manchester United. His preferred role is in the centre-back role, which he's playing in at the minute, and his perception of what could happen there if Alex got in at the far post was excellent.
Well, just while you're watching when Neil was talking there, Beckham clashing with Junior, didn't even make any contact, and Junior's gone down like he's had a rifle in his back or something there.
I think we can expect a lot more of this now, Steve, as well, because when South American teams start to lose, they will try every trick in the book to try and get back into games.
Well, I'll tell you, if the ball goes out, I'll tell about the manager, who's renowned for it. His quote was, when playing Corinthians in Sao Paulo's state final, they were 3-0 down, an aggregate with 14 minutes to go. And he said, nobody can afford to lose this one as George Best looks on. I'm asking my players to commit more fouls in midfield without injuring anyone. Well, Junior, Zeno and Paulo Nunes all got sent off, and the referee in the end had to call the game off. That was this season. Junior, one of them sent off. He's been penalised here. That's the sort of mentality that Manchester United could be up against tonight.
He's also been known to knock out journalists as well, Steve, so as well we're up here, right in the gods of this stadium. Neil will ask him a question afterwards if he loses, don't worry about that. In from Beckham. Away from Sampaio. Cleared by Junior. Well, this is the man that clearly makes Palmeiras tick, Alex. Back inside a Asprilla now. Oh, Silvestre was a touch late there. But I have to say again, Sampaio made it look a lot worse than it probably was. Yeah, Silvestre's trying to claim, well, it wasn't quite as bad as that. How his French and Albert Cruz German are getting together, I don't know. But I think the referee realised it wasn't bad enough to warrant a booking.
Still just one yellow card, that's gone to Alex. This is Cesar Sampaio, man foul, very experienced 31-year-old. And Junior Baiano fancies this one once more. It's a long, long way out. Mark Bosnich has a three-man wall. The 30 caps for Brazil. It's not being picked regularly at the moment, though. And once again, Junior Baiano. And that one was further away from his previous effort.
I mean, he took a run up like a long jumper there. I mean, I was expecting a hop, skip and a jump towards the end of it, but once again it was exactly the same as the effort before. Hit with the outside of the right foot and just curled away from the right hand upright.
approaching the final 30 seconds of the first half. Manchester United leading Palmeiras by a goal to nil here in Tokyo. Roy Keane, the goal scorer. Galanio. The challenge from Paul Scholes. Scholes 3 round him. A lunging challenge coming in. 1 minute of stoppage time is signalled. Solskjaer, who's on the lonely old furrow up there in the first half. Cleared by Galanio, only as far as Roy Keane. He's looking for Giggs. Might need an important header from Sampaio. Strong character, just sitting in front of Baiano there, who got the header. But here's Dennis Irwin. Tried to pull it back. Appeals for all sorts there. And in the end, United don't get anything. Marcos just managed to keep it. Goal side. Could be another yellow card here. No, the referee's being sensible once more. You have to say, apart from the opening exchanges where he missed one, which was a clear yellow card, Helmut Krug has had a very good first half.
Very much so. It's a match that could have exploded in a number of incidents with some late challenges there, but he's kept everyone calm and under control, and he really has marshalled this game well. We see a lot of games in the Premiership where things get out of hand. The referee's pocket's like a toaster, but not tonight.
And that is his half-time whistle. The German official and the Manchester United skipper, who could be close to securing his future with the club next week, has scored the goal from Ryan Giggs' cross that separates the two sides at the break in the World Super Cup. They weathered a bit of a storm, Manchester United. Mark Bosnich made one excellent save as well. But at the break, Roy Keane has got the goal, and it's good news. The scoreline is Manchester United 1, Palmeiras 0. Thanks so much indeed. Welcome back to this magnificent site. It's the Olympic Stadium in Tokyo, 60,000 all-seater, and a large proportion of them are very happy at the moment because Manchester United lead the South American champions Palmeiras by a goal to nil. And this man, last year's leading scorer Dwight Yorke, is on for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's a straight swap up front. We can only presume that the Norwegian has an injury. Yorke, who was rested for this game for the first 45 minutes of it, finds himself straight in at half-time. That is the only change to the two starting lineups from the first half. This is the man whose goal separates the two sides, Roy Keane. That was a thunderous challenge, really, on Dwight Yorke. He's beaten Baiano, all ends up. Welcome to the game, Dwight.
Very much so. They're making it very clear what sort of stuff he's going to get throughout this half. It's a good move, I think, to bring Dwight Yorke on because they're ahead, and what Alex Ferguson always does is when their team go ahead, he wants to punish the opposition again, get that second goal as quickly as possible to close the game out. And Yorke is a man they're going to have to cope with now. He's got extra chicks to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he's got an extra dimension to his play.
That's Irwin's cross. There's a flick on. Yorke, he got a touch. Oh, what a bizarre incident that would have been. There's the smile from the man from Trinidad and Tobago. It was Irwin's cross that caused the problems in the first place, then the flick on from Scholes, and on the floor with his left foot very nearly got Marcos scampering.
Isn't it brilliant to see Dwight Yorke laughing and smiling about things like this? I mean, he's just got a wonderful character, a wonderful attitude towards the game. It's not so much laid back or any lack of enthusiasm. He just stays calm and cool in the situation, and he just loves it. He just loves his football.
Aspria, that will be a goal kick. I witnessed one of the most amusing sights for a long time. Dwight Yorke playing the manager, Alex Ferguson, at Poole yesterday in the team hotel. Yorke took the lead 2-0. Typically, Alex Ferguson got back to 2-2, and you would have thought that the final frame was the World Championship at the Crucible, and both of them using their psychology. And in the end, Yorke won on the final black, and there was a almighty dance from Dwight Yorke. Nothing had given him so much pleasure for a long time than beating the manager at Poole. He was a brave man, but he's probably just about the only man with the personality in this squad to pull it off.
And get away with it.
And get away with it. As ever, relaxed and ahead of a big game, and it really does rub off on his teammates. There's the smile again.
How important this game is to Dwight is that he always talks about how he'll never get to a World Cup because he plays with Tobago. They're not a strong enough nation, and he talks about the Champions League and games like this. And these are his World Cups. These are his big games, big stage.
Chance for Asprilla, and he couldn't take it. To be fair, Mark Bosnich did very well to put him off. Asprilla has gone down. Mark Bosnich a little bit concerned about his injury, but it was the ball forward, the flick on from Nunes, and just momentarily Silvestre caught. And again, I think you have to give some credit to the Manchester United goalkeeper here now.
Mark Bosnich is looking very good tonight, very lively to all situations, and again he was straight out there. It was enough to put Asprilla off, who toe poked it wide.
Well, the former Newcastle man, the Colombian striker, seems to be okay. Nicky Butt, who, slight doubt about him. There was a few eyebrows raised on Sunday when we were training at a stadium on the outskirts of the city. He went down in a practice game on his wrist, went for a precautionary x-ray with the club doctor, but it wasn't broken. And the strapping is on, and he was able to take his place in the side. Kept in by Irwin. Gary Neville gets it back from Beckham. York having a right old battle over there with Hockey Junior. In the end, the throw-in goes Manchester United's way. He's certainly been involved since he came on. Dwight York. 11 goals already this season, but as you mentioned, could do with one to end by his standards what is something of a drought.
Every time David Beckham goes anywhere near those far touchlines, you see as if glitter's been sprinkled across this stadium as the flashlights go off, forever the centre of attention.
Cameras going absolutely everywhere as Gary Neville throws it towards Butt. It's a good flick on as well. Scholes battling away with Sampaio. Ball in from Neville. Might be a chance for York now to create his own space. It's back to Irwin. That's a great ball. Scholes has a lot of time. Not that much time to try and bring it down. Good opportunity though for the England man, and it was Junior back helping out.
See Dwight York causing all sorts of confusion in that box there. That's as I was saying before. Him coming on has added that extra impetus to Manchester United's play, and it's very much Palmeiras on the back foot trying to stop a second goal rather than get an equaliser.
Beckham's corner again. Very nearly got there. Giggs drills it back in, and Scholes in the end got the touch over the crossbar. Well, Giggs struck that one, and the sort of balls that could go absolutely anywhere. Again, it was Beckham's corner causing the problems. And Scholes just taking up the position, showing the cheeky one. Didn't quite come off.
Well, if that had come off, that would have been one of the goals of the season.
Still it remains 1-0. Roy Keane, the goal scorer, after 34 minutes. And the substitution, Evier, experienced centre forward, 34 years of age. He's going to come on for Palmeiras. So, seeing something positive from Luis Felipe Scolari, the Palmeiras coach.
And they do need something a bit different here, Steve, because as in the first half, Manchester United are just squeezing their play, forcing them wide. They're having to play balls up and through the middle, which 99 times out of 100 they're going to get away with the likes of Stam at the back and Silvestre and Keane dropping deep.
It's been a very controlled, polished performance so far from Manchester United. But long way to go. Baiano, rare foray forward from him, and again a good take from Bosnich with Nunes bearing down on him. Hasn't got forward an awful lot, Junior, in this game. That's a credit to United's play. That wasn't one of his best crosses. Scholes. York made the run for Gary Neville. He decides to check inside instead. Now he gets it. Oof, caught late again there. Referee saw it. He's made a note of it.
something I'm noticing out there, Steve, is that York is constantly pulling out onto Beckham's right flank, so Beckham can come into the middle, so they can just change it round a bit, because Beckham certainly in the first half was being pushed out of the game by two of the Palmeiras players, but right now they don't seem to know which one of them to follow.
Stam jumps with Nunes. Nunes complaining that Stam caught him. Gazava made a meal of it. Dutchman again. York, this time he does have a little bit of space. He's wriggled free from a marker. Palmeiras, who we have to point out, didn't come into this game with great form book behind them. Now, chance for Nicky Butt to have a go. This time he's just tried to curl one. Went for precision as opposed to power. And Nicky Butt could not get it on target. Substitution will be made. Galliano, who is a defensive midfielder, is coming off. And as I mentioned, Evier, the experienced centre forward, gloves and all, is coming on. That really is a positive substitution.
And I think it's one that could play right into Manchester United's hands, because as we saw in the European Cup final, if someone commits themselves and tries to go forward and get a second goal, as Alex Ferguson enticed Bayern Munich into doing, they can quickly get caught on the break.
Here's his first touch, but he didn't get the chance because Stam was in strongly. United will be very impressed with their football so far, but Beckham's mistake could be punished now. Junior down the left-hand side. Here's the substitute, wanted too much time, and to be fair, it was that man, David Beckham, who originally made the error, back to atone for it.
David Beckham's got a lot of tricks in his game, as we know. He's got a lot of talent, but what he's also got is a tremendous work rate. There again we saw he made the mistake, but who was first back to cover for himself? It was David Beckham himself. He's one of the most hard-working footballers you'll see in Europe, as one is the most talented, and that's what makes him what he is today.
Zinho. Palmeiras trying to step it up a gear. They need to do it, no question about that. Evier, flag is up. That will not count. The Brazilians go wild away to our right-hand side, but it was a very early flag from the Korean official. And Alex, who has got that free roll just behind the front two, was well off when the ball was played. Good decision.
Yeah, it was he was a mile offside there. I think he only put it away to give the Palmeiras fans something to cheer about, even though if their cries quickly were stopped.
Another substitution. Arceus, a striker, is on, and Faustino Asprilla only lasts 55 minutes. He is off. Had that one opportunity at the beginning of the second half, but really we haven't really seen too much of the Faustino Asprilla we saw in the Premiership.
No, it'll be a big disappointment for Asprilla. He was saying in the week that if he could score a goal and win this match, he would be a legend forever. He said with the Palmeiras fans. He said he was desperate for them to love him. He was desperate to make a success of his career in Brazil, but it just doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Arceus, the 28-year-old, is on. His main strength is in the air, which might be a slight change of tact as far as the Brazilians are concerned. But they've virtually got three up front now, with Arceus, Evier, the two substitutes, and Paulo Nunes. Three in midfield, so it's taking the game to United. Some tactical battles going on out there at the moment. Still, it's Keane's goal after 35 minutes that separates the two sides here in the Olympic Stadium in Tokyo. And you're watching it right here on MUTV. Neil Custard, the Sun, alongside myself, Steve Bauer. United looking to become the first English club ever to win this competition. First English club already to compete in it since 1984, when Liverpool lost 1-0 to the Argentinians Independiente. Liverpool on 3 occasions have tried and failed. Aston Villa too, Nottingham Forest as well. Just looking at the match programme today that has some photographs of past matches, and Forest, I think in 80-81, Martin O'Neill, a Leicester manager, was in centre midfield. That was Roy Keane watching that all the way and reading the situation. Junior, who's just come into the game a touch more down the left-hand side, again was the man providing the cross.
Yeah, they just want to be careful at the moment, Manchester United, because Palmeiras seem to have got a little bit of an impetus now with the 3 men up front. They've taken a very positive approach and they're putting the pressure on.
Every man bar. York is back for this corner, taken by Zinho. Bosnich comes, gets a good solid punch on it, and York picks it up as well. Giggs was motoring, but York couldn't get past his man. Zinio once more. That was his right foot, and there again, possibly a little more dangerous in the air with Osius. Arce with the cross, down with a solid challenge, but with a sensible ball. Beckham's taken the man away here for York. Keane. Well, it was worth a shout. Didn't really get hold of it. It was a long way out, but with this goalkeeper Marcos, why not test him?
As I said before, Steve, with the extra man on up front, Palmeiras are pushing forward to try and get that.
Well, there's a real chance now. This is Ryan Giggs for number 2, and he's missed it. Dwight York looks at him. Ryan Giggs knows, and Dwight York knows that that was a magnificent opportunity for Manchester United's second. The man who was 26 yesterday had a perfect birthday present here, and he just could not take it.
That was a marvellous chance to make it 2-0. Now Palmeiras are right back on the attack with a shot which Bosnich does very well with, once again solidly behind it. But what a chance we saw at the other end there, a mistake at the back. York, cool and calm, laid it up for Giggs, but he just put the wrong sort of curl on it, and it went away from the far post rather than tucking in the left-hand side of it. Hopefully they won't rue that mistake.
As we approach the hour mark in Tokyo, this game beginning to open up as we expected after a real cat and mouse first half. They know enough about each other now, and substitutions from both sides for a lot more positive look about it. Sampaio goes back to Hockey Junior. The 25-year-old with 2 Brazilian caps has continued his run here. It's still Hockey Junior. Stan watched that all the way. Scholes then read the situation superbly well too. Comes back to Alex. Nunes has made the run. That's where it was aimed. Osius. This was a bit of pressure from the South American champions. Still the slenderest of leads. Roy Keane's goal separating the two sides. Giggs here though has just wasted a wonderful opportunity for number 2.
The frustrating thing there is, Steve, there could have really been game, set and match there if Ryan Giggs had got that one. Watching there's man Michel Platini, who scored when Juventus won this cup, and that meant a lot to him then, despite everything he'd achieved in his career.
He of course now here in his role with FIFA, because the Japanese, who love their football in this city, are warming up for it. They're the co-host of the next World Cup in 2002, of course, with South Korea. I understand this is the arena for the opening ceremony, and if the build-up to this game is anything to go by, that will certainly be worth seeing. And we of course very much hope that England will be participating. But it's club level tonight, and it is Manchester United leading Palmeiras by 1-0. Beckham, 3 to aim for should he decide to cross. It's a flat one. I think Scholes, to be fair, was trying to find York with that. It skidded off his head. Roy Keane, who's now got 4 goals in his last 6 games in all competitions, which must be one of his best periods of goal scoring in his career, particularly in his deeper role he plays for United. For Alex Ferguson making the point earlier in the season at Nottingham Forest, he was allowed to get forward a touch more. But 4 in 6, with some dressing room ribbing going on about that.
Well, like every one of the Manchester United midfield, they can be so dangerous when they make those runs from deep, and every one of them is capable of scoring goals, and nobody expected Keane to be there in the Palmeiras defence when he made it to that far post to score.
York. Couldn't bet against a goal for him. He's created his own space, good opportunity, and once more the Brazilian goalkeeper cannot hold on to it, and I'm sure the United manager will want to see him tested a touch more. Might get it now with Giggs. York. Referee waves play on.
On first view of that, Steve, I would have to say that's a penalty. He went for the 1-2 and he was just shoved off the ball.
Well, we might get another look at it in a moment. I have to say, I agree with you. Not one to go down unless he's been fouled, Dwight York. Certainly a much better game of football in the second period. York battling away again. Here come the Brazilians once more. It's Alex, the danger man. Left foot. Off target. Bosnich arguably had it covered, but he is very much the man that makes them tick. This little diminutive figure, a 22-year-old who's broken into the national side now, who was part of the Copa America squad that won that tournament. He wasn't that far away here.
Yeah, it was a great run. I think some of the Manchester United defenders were waiting for a pass one way or the other, but he took it on himself with a shot he screwed at least 2 feet wide of the right-hand upright. And I don't think they've tested Mark Bosnich enough tonight. They've had long-range efforts, they've had a lot of runs, but Bosnich has been cute to everything.
Still they have the lead, but as I say, if any man's going to hurt United, it's this man. Arceus, the substitute. York and Hockey Junior. Zinio inside to Sampaio. Junior once more. Goes past Gary Neville, wants the ball back, gets it back. And that took a deflection off Jaap Stam, and it'll be a corner to Palmeiras.
Yeah, they're looking quite sharp, Palmeiras, on the break, but again, Stam was in there. He just did enough to put him off, and we're seeing the same on the right and the left. When they forced them wide, they're doing enough to put them off their shots. On that occasion, a slight deflection took it out for a corner.
Zinio will take the corner once more. Bosnich stays rooted. Owen got a touch to it, and that was a great touch from Scholes, and momentarily it was 2-on-2. Beckham just gave it too much, but Scholes might get there. Now Giggs and York waiting for the cross. It's Paul Scholes for Manchester United, and he couldn't find either of them. In the end, they get a corner for their troubles.
Well, I hope Manchester United do go on to win this, because they will rue the chances they've had here. It was 3 against 1 there. Scholes was going for either York, there was two men he could have got to there, but it was the recovering defender who got to it first.
Cesar Sampaio scored the first goal of France '98 for Brazil in the Stade de France against Scotland after just 4 minutes. Went on to be a loser in the final there. Will he be a loser in the final today? It's the flashes as Beckham takes the corner. Never seen anything quite like that before. Unbelievable spotlight over here in Tokyo. Here he is again. That's a great ball. Nicky Butt, and he runs it too far. When David Beckham takes a free kick or a corner, literally flashes ring round the stadium. You almost have to blink. It's an unbelievable sight.
It is, and the only time I've seen something like it was in Barcelona, when Manchester United picked the cup up, and it was quite a dramatic sight. It was quite shocking as all these flashlights went off around the stadium and just added to them a dramatic effect of a wonderful night over in Spain.
Substitute Evier couldn't get it through. It's picked up by the goal scorer and captain Roy Keane. Will he be lifting another trophy in 25 minutes time? His goal separates the two sides. Neville looking for York again, peeling out on the right hand side. Gets it back from Beckham, but for once not quite into his path. Well, that was a strange ball, and that's an indication possibly of some lack of cohesion in the Palmeiras ranks. That was a foul throw.
There's no doubt about that. David Beckham did that on the run. Might get a call up over to South Africa after that, I think. But this is an important phase of the game now, because Manchester United have had 2 chances, and they don't want their heads to go down after missing those at a point when they could have killed the game off, because Palmeiras are still very much in it at 1-0 down, and as we can see on the break, they are sharp.
With the 3 up front now as well. Paulo Nunes putting Owen under pressure. Thankfully haven't seen too much of Nunes tonight. He was a loser with Gremio in '95, beaten by Ajax when the Palmeiras coach tonight was in charge. Arceus, the substitute, beaten to it, but they're steadily putting a little bit more pressure on United at the moment, Palmeiras. And as ever, they will look to Alex, the little midfielder, to try and break United down. This is Junior, side to Sampaio. but Owen did well. Giggs. Brilliant wing play once more. Very nearly got past the second challenge of Junior Baiano. That's what we know Ryan Giggs is capable of.
Yeah, once again, we're seeing the best of Giggs. Great little trick there, and he just failed to carry it on with the man covering.
Silvestro's had a very good game tonight at centre-half. Paulo Nunes felt the brunt of a Roy Keane challenge. York thought he'd been fouled and did well. There's 3 to Beckham's left. Opted instead for his best man and best mate Gary Neville, but he couldn't get the return pass. Just wonder how much the travelling of getting here in the last couple of days adjusting might play a part as the clock ticks on. Palmeiras, remember, who struggling in their league. They're 12th in the Brazilian Championship at the moment, looking to try and add to their 4 championships in their history. Have been here for 8 days, remember. Paulo Nunes onto his right, deflected. The referee gives a goal kick. A little flash of the talent that this man has, of up and down character. There's a lot of pace, but can be brilliant on one day and awful on the next. That one was across the face of goal.
Yeah, again, it was just the finish that's let them down, and their finishing has been poor tonight, but he created an opening for himself there with his speed and his ability and his control, and Manchester United are going to have to be aware of just what Palmeiras can still do to them in the remaining 20 minutes of this game.
We saw there on the substitutes bench the final throw of the dice from Luis Felipe Scolari. The Palmeiras coach is making one final substitution, but the ball is still in play with Junior, and there is the header from Alex, and that is an unbelievable chance for the star man of Palmeiras. A real let-off for Manchester United. That looked a certain 1-1 free header, and you have to say that is a huge, huge let-off. Alex should have scored.
Well, he'll be having nightmares about that tonight. He got in between 2 defenders, he had a free header, and he has to get that on target. I mean, how close he was to the goal with the power he had on it. Either side of Mark Bosnich, it was going to take a tremendous save to stop that.
Well, that could have put a different complexion on it. Euler is the man who's coming on, playing 19. He's an attacking midfielder. He's watching from the bench as Palmeiras continue their pressure. Arce, very good header from Gary Neville. And it had to be as well. Brazilians have suddenly come to life on and off the pitch, the Brazilians. In full voice once more, trailing by a goal to nil. The drums are beating again as well. Still they wait for a goal from their beloved heroes. United still in the ascendancy, but only just. Nunes going in with Irwin. That was a good header, overhead kick from the substitute, and Arceus was never going to really trouble Mark Bosnich with that.
They're throwing everything forward now, Palmeiras, in to try and get this goal. I mean, that was a very ambitious effort. We've seen Andy Cole put a few of those away, but I think it's only ever 1 in 10 of those which is going to go in.
Keane just sensed United could get forward whenever they need to. This is Beckham. York was the target, and he gets a corner out of it. Once again, we're going to see the flashes. Dwight York certainly been involved since he came on at half-time.
But what he has done, Steve, he's done a lot of running, and he's pulled the Palmeiras defence wide and apart to create openings for others.
Beckham's cross is a good one, and that for a moment looked as though it was going goalwards from Roy Keane at the near post. In the end, it went across the penalty area. Palmeiras are certainly vulnerable in the air, there's no question about that, particularly with their goalkeeper. Keane. York has made himself available once more. Butt is in the penalty area. York might just go this one alone. And he's been forced wide. Beckham was off balance when he played that. Test for the goalkeeper, and again cannot take it. And really, you'd like to see a few more of those crosses going in just to test him a touch more, because he hasn't held one tonight.
He's looking like a dolphin sometimes in the box there when he goes up for those balls. It's quite entertaining, and they want to start putting more of these in because he's very much under pressure with these. He's obviously not used to the quantity of crosses that are coming in from Manchester United.
I think Teddy Sheringham is going to come on in a moment for United. Would have been bitterly disappointed not to have been in the starting lineup tonight. I heard from him yesterday, of course, on MUTV, saying that he has an open mind about his future. 6 months of his contract left. Hints from the manager that he wants him to stay. He's heard nothing of those as yet. But he could be on to play a part as a substitute for the final 17 minutes. Or is there more? United leading 1-0. A goal from Palmeiras will force extra time. Or certainly the possibility of it. And that was an excellent challenge by Neville on this man, Junior, who really has come into the game in the second half down that left-hand side.
And we're seeing Teddy, we're just seeing a replay of that chance there, and Gary Neville was across to it again. Gary Neville, for me, has been one of the best men on the pitch tonight. He's done his job superbly well, so consistent. Any threat down his wing, he's forced his man wide, and he's blocked any crosses that have come across.
Teddy Sheringham is to come on, and Paul Scholes is the man to leave the field. Had a couple of half chances himself tonight, Paul Scholes. Teddy Sheringham, 6th substitute appearance this year. They didn't wait for the corner, and a wonderful stop from Bosnich. Oseas, the substitute, must have thought he'd scored there. And once more, the Manchester United goalkeeper pulls off what you have to say was a world-class save.
This was absolutely fantastic from Mark Bosnich. It's a close-range shot. He stands up strong. He waits for the shot to be hit and beats it away. That was a first-class save from Mark Bosnich.
Not his first of the evening. If Manchester United do go on and win this Super Cup tonight, they'll look back at several incidents, no more so, 2 crucial saves from their goalkeeper, who looks to be getting better and better as every game goes by. Giggs, 26 yesterday. Can he produce a birthday present? Well, he got onto his weaker side. Didn't really catch it enough to trouble Marcos.
It's another good run from Ryan Giggs, turning them this way and that. Almost memorable, that goal he scored at Villa Park in that semi-final was just the finish just wasn't there. He almost stubbed the shot into the ground.
Well, exciting stuff now as we enter the last 15 minutes of normal time. Asaya's cross. Headed away once more by Gary Neville. Alex with a turn, beat 3 players there. Beckham. Keane to York. United's passing in the second half really has been magnificent. Wonderful playing surface here as well. Free in the penalty area, Owen. Giggs brilliance once more. Fantastic cross. And very nearly forced an own goal. That was vintage Ryan Giggs. The South Americans had no answer whatsoever. It was Zinio who he just glanced around. And as I say, 3 were waiting for the cross, and in the end, United get the corner. Well, they went too far away again. Keane. Giggs once more, and this time he does take it, Marcos.
This has been Giggs' best match this season, without a doubt. We saw a lovely little trick before. He's powering in those crosses and charging down that flank to cause trouble. But it's now Palmeiras on the break. They've got right into the box, and
Bosnich again. Magnificent. Well, Palmeiras are annoyed. Fuller, the substitute, virtually with his first touch from Baiano's cross. And Bosnich again stood his ground. Look at that, right until the final moment, and down crucially. The fans are getting richly entertained in this last quarter. Here's Giggs once more, just forces Sheringham wide a touch, but he does well, Teddy Sheringham. Beckham. Giggs with the header. Got very, very shaky back there, the Brazilians, and the ball goes into the penalty area. It's a big pitch, this as well. They've done some running out there. To quote that old saying in football, the next goal is going to be the all-important one. No question about that. If United get it, they've got one hand on the Super Cup. If Palmeiras get it, they could be going to an extra 30 minutes. Who knows, even a shootout. Well, that was a touch harsh on Silvestre. Kicks the ball away, and that's even harsher. Yellow card. Been magnificent tonight.
Silvestre has been magnificent tonight. He's spoiled things a bit by whacking that ball away. I mean, that is an automatic yellow card, there's no question about it. It's seen as a time-wasting tactic. But no, Silvestre has been excellent in that Manchester United back four.
Arcea, the Paraguayan right back, beaten in this particular final in '95 with Gremio, is behind the free kick. He's losing in '99 to Manchester United with Palmeiras, with less than 12 minutes of normal time left. And that will be a corner because Keane got goal side of the substitute Evier. All three are on. Good jump, Roy Keane. Arcea will take this corner. (4-1). Only as far as Alex. And Mark Bosnich is having the game of his life tonight. Wonderful agility. The wonder boy of Brazilian football tested the Australian there.
And I tell you what, Steve, you'll have seen that very late because there was a big crowd of players there in front of him.
Boy, was he equal to it. Palmeiras once more, and that's comfortable in the end. Well, he's made 4 saves of the highest quality tonight.
You've got to have the utmost admiration for Mark Bosnich, not just for tonight but for the whole season. He came here expecting to be the replacement for Peter Schmeichel, then Taibbi came in, he was out the side and looked like he didn't have a future here for some time, but he stayed very strong. He's got back into the side and we're starting to see his best. He's growing into this role as Peter Schmeichel's replacement.
An impossible task in itself, as we've said time and time again. This is Sheringham. Giggs. You can sense that Palmeiras defence don't know what to do with Ryan Giggs now. Owen getting involved. 10 minutes left, just over York. And as I said, really, the next goal is going to be crucial. Gary Neville. Beckham to his right. Gary Neville's going to go for goal. Well, that famous one solitary strike in his career against Middlesbrough. He wasn't too far away on that occasion.
Not at all, and it was more excellent work from Gary Neville to get the opportunity in the first place with a crunching challenge to win the ball, and he was straight onto it, almost like a striker the way he latched onto that shot.
Time ticking on in the Olympic Stadium in Tokyo in the Super Cup final. Palmeiras need a goal. Stam heads away from the dangerous ball in, played in down the right-hand side from Euler, the substitute.
Giggs was fouled there as he went for the return pass, and Manchester United won't mind that at all now. Alex Ferguson looks slightly concerned with the amount of possession Palmeiras may be getting in that defensive third of Manchester United's half. But as he said before this game, that when it comes to the big ones, his players don't let him down, and they haven't done tonight.
A lot being made of the defeat in Florence leading up to this game, and the fact that, by his own admission, they haven't been firing on all cylinders. This man at the moment staring a second Super Cup defeat in his career as coach. He was here 4 years ago. Ajax did him on penalties. Please, 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 we don't want those tonight. That is a handball against the substitute. Zinio, the captain, hasn't had the telling role he might have wished. Premature whistles from some of the Japanese fans supporting the Reds in the stadium tonight. There's a full 8 minutes yet, plus time added on. Manchester United, the European champions, the treble winners. Can they add to that the unofficial world club champions in terms of the Super Cup, which no English side have ever done before? Sheringham and Hockey Jr. picked up by Zenio Sampaio, another man who played in Japan for 4 years for the Yokohama Flusals and rejoined Palmeiras at the start of the year. Bosnich this time on his favoured left side. Baiano. Oh, that came off Silvestre and the offside flag is up. That would have been a touch unfortunate. Well, the Brazilians at this stage are going to argue about everything, every single decision.
I'm not sure if that. I'm sorry, Steve. I'm not sure if that was offside because it actually came up. You'll see here now. It actually came up off Silvestre's head and then landed at his feet. But when the ball was actually hit from the Palmeiras player, he was in an onside position.
Euler, the man involved. York was being fouled. That'll waste a few more seconds. And as I say, if United can find a goal from somewhere now, they'll virtually have both hands on that Super Cup. Plenty of the star names have played in these games over the years. European champions Real Madrid won it last year. Remember, United bidding to become the 5th consecutive European side to do it. The South Americans are well aware of that record as well. They've prepared virtually their whole year for this game. Stark contrast to United's preparations. But at the moment, without tempting fate, they will be flying home empty-handed. But still over 5 minutes left. You have to say, after their flurry of pressure and those saves from Mark Bosnich, United do look comfortable.
Yeah, they stayed very strong under that spell of 10 or 15 minutes of pressure. Mark Bosnich pulling off a couple of great saves, and the defence really holding out under the utmost of pressure from the Brazilian side.
United, of course, back in '68, losing 2-1 on aggregate to Estudiantes of Argentina, and it was a two-legged affair. That's the only time they've ever played in the Super Cup, and only once before have English opposition met Brazilian opposition, strangely enough. That was back in '81, Liverpool and Flamengo, the days of Zico. Flamengo won 3-0 on that occasion, so there's certainly plenty of scores to settle, and they're not that far away from settling them. There's the Palmeiras coach. Looks a touch frustrated, understandably so. Osias, the substitute. Again, Silvestre is there. That's intended for Dennis Irwin. There was an exchange of looks between the two of them. The French under 21 defender takes up his position to Mark Osias. Offside flag is up. In fact, the foul throw has been given. Both feet weren't on the ground from Arcea, the fullback. The Paraguayan is penalised. 4 minutes plus stoppage time left in the Olympic Stadium in Tokyo. Irwin with the clearance. York has done a lot of unselfish running in his second half cameo appearance. Baiano goes all the way back to Marcos, who was beaten after 34 minutes by Roy Keane's shot, after he was beaten by a wonderful cross from Ryan Giggs. And that is the moment that separates the two sides. Sheringham. Nicky Butt feels for the free kick and isn't given. Now this is the stage of the game which really would be a killer blow to United. Junior, should Palmeiras get on the score sheet. Superb defending again by the skipper. He's been absolutely magnificent in front of that back four tonight. Evier. Evier once more. Well, he made a meal of that. Dennis Irwin isn't too impressed, but it gives Palmeiras a free kick in a very, very dangerous situation.
I think Dennis Irwin there was just trying to ease him off the ball, just trying to put him off, and well, it went down as if a lot more happened than it actually did. But we're in a dangerous situation here because they're a lot closer in than the last two free kicks that we saw in the two free kicks we saw in the first half, which were about 30 yards out, about 22 yards out here.
Well, Alex fancies it, Zeno does as well. Arcea's behind it. So too is the substitute. Mark Bosnich has been magnificent all night. He might be required to make one more telling contribution inside the last 2 minutes. You fancy it's going to be a curler from Alex on that left foot of his. Every single player inside that Reds penalty area is Alex. It came off the wall and it will be a corner.
All doing this job there. Mark Bosnich applauding them. They just jumped just as the player was taking the shot to put it behind for a corner, but the pressure's not gone yet.
Arcea to take it, the Paraguayan. A lot of jostling going on inside the penalty area. What a strong header from Roy Keane. A little bit of a knock there as well. United skipper.
Keane was desperate to be first to that ball, and I think when the replay does come up, we'll see that he was clattered from behind.
It's been an inspiration once more this evening.
It'll be an extra special moment for Roy Keane, who will have been so disappointed to have missed that European Cup final, the victory of which got them to play in this showdown tonight, and Keane has been exceptional.
He's okay, he doesn't need any treatment. Takes an awful lot for Roy Keane to need treatment. In the dark skies of the Japanese capital of Tokyo are about to be lit up by Manchester United fans, most of them based over here, if they can hold on. You'll hear some noise all right. There's hardly a spare seat in the house. I believe these tickets were sold out in 4 days. Really has captured the imagination over here, this final, more than some of the ones gone by. And despite the fact there's been only one goal, they haven't really been let down, particularly in the second half, where there's been some really entertaining football.
No, a lot of these showpiece events, a lot of these big finals, big clashes, which promise so much, can be a letdown. But certainly in the second half, this hasn't been. We've had a lot of action and a lot of good football. We see that there's 3 minutes of extra time to add on. We always remember what happened the last time we saw that in a major final. Let's hope it doesn't happen tonight.
Well, they've got defending to do. Ostam very nearly missed his kick, and Keane again is the man to clear United's lines. That's an excellent touch from York. And here comes Marcos steaming out of his goal. York's got there. And I tell you what, that was some cavalier goalkeeping. Typical Brazilian style, you have to say.
I just saw Alex Ferguson bursting off the bench there to claim this as a throw-in for himself. As we see, York did get the last touch, but just goes to show how much Alex Ferguson wants this victory, and we're only a couple of minutes away from it now.
Giggs couldn't keep that in. Palmeiras throwing absolutely everything at Manchester United now. Their coach has used all three substitutes from the permitted 7 in the second half. This is one of them. Javier, side to Zinho, the captain. Lucky Junior pushing forward. But back helping out as the final cross comes in. And another magnificent take. I tell you what, Oseas was bearing down on Mark Bosnich there and kept his eyes firmly on the ball. Another fantastic take.
Yeah, it would have been a shame if there had been any mistake from Mark Bosnich there, because he really has had the perfect night for a goalkeeper. Commanding his area, quick to come out to clear the ball, and some superb reaction saves. A great night for Mark Bosnich.
Tell you what, it'll be interesting to see who wins the official Toyota Man of the Match award. This is superb again. He gets a bang for his duties. Bang in the face there for the United keeper. Just came out to meet Alex in a brave fashion. Just got a knock as he did it, because there's a brand new Toyota Celica, which I'm told is the latest Japanese model out here, sitting just on the running track away to our left-hand side, behind Alex Ferguson. And that will be presented to the man of the match, so they might get a brand new car for their troubles.
Alex Ferguson down there checking his watch all the time. If there's a second over the 3 minutes of injury time, this referee will sharp know about it.
Still Palmeiras trying to break Manchester United down. Well, Helmut Krug again not convinced and not falling for the antics of the Brazilians. It's been excellent throughout, the German referee tonight. Just a case for United now to maintain possession, keep Palmeiras in their own half. I'll tell you what, if you're 1-0 down, it's one team you do not want to face in this situation. So good at it. York getting a buffeting from behind, and that is it. Manchester United have written a little bit more of history into a long, long list tonight. Roy Keane's goal after 34 minutes gives them the World Super Cup, the very first English team ever to win. They are now the unofficial world champions. English teams like Liverpool, Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest have come to Tokyo and failed, but the skipper does it again, and there's another trophy and another medal for the Manchester United players.
At the Olympic Stadium in Tokyo, the Manchester United team are going up for the Toyota European South American Cup, formerly the Intercontinental Cup. Does this make the team the world champions, Colin?
Well, unofficially, yes, but they've got this new FIFA World Championship.
For 6 weeks at least.
For 6 weeks at least, yeah. So we'll have to wait and see how they've done. They've done tremendous, and they've done Britain proud, bringing it back to England where nobody else has done it before.
There's a trophy being handed now. We can see it raised by Roy Keane. Of course, it was his goal that gave United the 1-0 victory. This is Alex Ferguson's 22nd major trophy in his managerial career, his 14th here at United, and that is a pretty good record, isn't it, Paul?
Still not sure if he's safe in a sack. It's absolutely brilliant, really, what's achieved. I mean, he's virtually like saying he's won more than, well, he's virtually won something every year he's been here, which is a hell of an achievement.
Now, the big key you can see there is the Man of the Match award. That is going to go to one Manchester United player, and before we see it presented, who do you think it should go to, Colin?
Well, I think Bosnich did tremendous. He kept them in the game, so I would expect him to get it, but that's really, we'll have to wait and see on that.
Paul?
Being by the size of the key, I'd give it a noddy. Must be for his car.
So there we are. Ryan Giggs got the Man of the Match award. Maybe it's a late birthday present. Of course, yesterday Ryan Giggs was 26 years of age, but the sponsors Toyota gave it to Ryan, and I think Ryan was very, very surprised. And there we are. He wins another car as well for the collection. I think Ryan did look surprised there, didn't he, Colin?
A little bit, yeah. I think Bozzy will be a little bit disappointed if we're trying to snatch that key off him. It's big enough, that's for sure.
This is how much it means to the Palmeiras players. That's at Junior. They've been here a week in the build-up to this. They've played 2 practice matches. There's talk that their coach Scolari may now get the sack because they've lost this game. David Beckham, he's been adored in Japan over the last 3 or 4 days. Ryan Giggs, the man of the match, of course, it was his cross that let in Roy Keane for the only goal of this game. So they've gone to Tokyo and they've done a job, haven't they, Paul?
Certainly have. I mean, I'm quite sure they'll be looking just to get on the plane and come home again, really, and try and get themselves sorted out for Saturday. That's the main one now, I think.
And of course, Wednesday is now massive against Valencia as well, isn't it?
Oh, Wednesday's a big game. Very big game after a result last Tuesday. I mean, they just want to get back and get themselves right for both of those games.
You can see Espria on the left there. Of course, he was used to the cold, spent a couple of seasons up at Newcastle. But they're certainly dejected Palmeiras players, aren't they? Yeah,
it's about time they were as well, isn't it? I mean, they've had the upper hand over all these years, so it's for me it's nice to see. Much rather than be unhappy than our lot. So, it was a sort of game where there could have been a lot more goals. But in the end, Mark's made some tremendous saves. And Giggsy had a really good chance where he's just dragged it wide. The lad, Alex, had a header that flashed wide. But that's football. There's many ways to win a football match, not just attacking and defending. They're two different departments.
Well, we enjoyed the treble in May. This is the last cup of the millennium. United have won the Toyota European South American Cup. Celtic, Liverpool, Forest, Villa, the team of 68 failed as well. So yet again, United rewrite history, Paul.
Sounds nice, world champions.
Yeah, it does. It sounds very, very nice. But it was a fantastic game, a fantastic experience, and it was just great to be part of a winning team.
So often these showdowns don't live up to it, but that did tonight. It was a great game, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, from where I was standing, it looked to be a very good game, especially in the second half. It seemed to really, really open up. And I think when you get the contrast of styles, South American and European, you always invariably get great games. And I think tonight, we've confirmed it was a very good game.
It seems the lads like the sort of challenge of testing themselves against the best tonight as well, because obviously there were 20 internationals on that pitch.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, it's the South American versus European champions, and like I said, from a personal point of view, I was just very, very happy to be involved and a part of it. And I'm really, really proud to be playing with the players that I'm playing with. It was a great bunch of players, and it was a great experience.
You joined the treble winners, and you've got a medal and a trophy by November. That's not bad, is it?
Yeah, not bad. I sort of wondered a little bit after the charity shit. I sort of thought to myself tonight, yeah, but there's still a lot to play for this season, and we're not kidding no one. We've got probably just as big game next Wednesday against Valencia, and also against Everton on Saturday. So, it's business as usual, and things will roll on to the next game.
It's fair to say that we haven't been at our best coming into this game, but the manager said yesterday what great character this side has.
Yeah, from afar, like I said, I'm only new, so from afar, it always seemed that Manchester United is one of their greatest attributes, was always bouncing back from adversity, and I don't think it was no different tonight. We did have a bad result in Florence, and it's put us under a little bit of pressure now for the next game. But to bounce back and to win here on an occasion which has got quite a lot of history, it's been fantastic.
Talk about character. You've needed that in your short United career second time round. Brilliant display tonight.
Yeah, but like I said to the press guys over there, the defence in front of me were fantastic. Mikel Silvestre, I think, had probably his best game for the club as well. And Yap was his normal rock self, and the two fullbacks were outstanding. And it's like I said, it's a pleasure to play behind him.
You don't like to be that busy, but you like to make saves as well on the other hand, and you made them tonight.
I just tried my best to do my job, and maybe some of the people who didn't know me and said some of the things they did beforehand, maybe, well, obviously they won't eat their words, but maybe they might have a little think to themselves.
Barring Derby, you've had a run in the side as well, which always helps, doesn't it now?
Yeah, I said that from the start. I got injured at the start of the season. I got fully fit, and I got a run of games, and I've had a lot of good fortune, a lot of help along the way. TC, the goalkeeping coach, has been fantastic with me, and he's helped me a great deal, and also people like Steve McLaren and Jim Ryan and my teammates. So I've had a lot of help, and like I said, one swallow doesn't make a summer. I've said that before when I first came here. Like I said, there's a lot of time and a lot of games to play here.
There's a lot of football to be played. It's early on in your career, but you say Manchester United fans have seen Mark Bosnich at his best tonight?
Well, I hope not. Like I said, I'm happy with the performance, but more important that the team wins. But I hope, like I said, I've got a little bit more left for him.
Well, then you got a medal in the cabinet as well.
Well, I haven't actually. They didn't give out any medals.
Make sure you get one.
Yeah, the memory will remain.